Hey
Hi.
everyone, how are you?
Hi there.
Hi, Kevin.
Good to see everyone.
Hey, we're on right now. Just give me a text, okay?
I see Eve has been hard at work making it happen again, week after week.
Was busy undoing it for a second there, I think. Hi.
Carmen, it's good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be with you all. Even though I can't see you.
I could try.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Good. It's one of those days.
I
We're excited
totally
to
understand.
be here tonight, though. So, Eve, you feel good to go? Is that correct?
Yes, I
I
am.
don't know if Jeanne is coming or not, so we might.
I,
Have you guys talked with her?
I don't think she's coming.
She might not be. She's coming from Ohio,
Okay,
so she might be on the road.
gotcha. So what we might do is do announcements at the end,
I have the
unless Eve
announcements.
already has.
I have them.
Oh, Eve has it all under control. Then that's good. So I'll go ahead. If Carmen, if you feel good about the slide presentation, Eve, you feel good. I'll go ahead and start the meeting, and we won't waste any time. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. So here is our very exciting Rotary E-Club of District 7710 weekly meeting. We do meet on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock, except usually it's the third Tuesday or the week of the third Tuesday where we have either a social event or a service event. And we are lucky this week to have Carmen Fells with us to talk about Global Incite. And we're going to have Eve introduce her a little bit later and cover some announcements. But I do want to welcome everyone tonight and just kind of go through our attendees list, and everyone can say hello and where you're calling in from. You can start with Eve.
Hi, this is Eve Marianne. I'm in Durham, North Carolina.
And I'm Kevin Primus. I'm in Durham, North Carolina as well. Carmen, we'll come back to you. We'll go straight to Diana Phillips. I don't know if your mic is on or if you can introduce yourself. It might be that the mic is not working, so if you do get a chance to unmute, we can come back to you. Leslie, are you with us? We might come back to Leslie, but I'm pretty sure that Lynn is available.
I'm available, and Leslie just sent a note that said it was Leslie is from calling in or watching or listening from Elon. So I just saw that note pop up, and I'm Lynn, here from Cary, North Carolina. Leslie says no mic or camera. Sorry. I can translate for her if you like.
I do know a Leslie from Elon, and I could translate for her if it's the right Leslie. But
Okay.
that's great. Thank you, Lynn, for pointing that out. And Rachel?
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm from Raleigh.
Rachel, what are you doing in Raleigh? I thought you were a Chapel Hill person.
No, not at all. I'm a dental hygienist, and I'm studying in school part-time as well.
Okay, great. I also note that our friend BC is coming online. I don't know if his microphone is ready, BC?
Good evening, all. If you can all hear me?
Yes.
Great. I hope the program is such that it doesn't crash again because we're having difficulties. So I was a little apprehensive, but so far it's holding.
Good, BC. We're always glad you can make it. Diana, is your microphone working?
Yes, it's working now. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. Diana Phillips. I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Hillsborough.
We're glad you can make it tonight.
Thank you.
And so I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Eve unless someone else is on the line that doesn't show up in our list.
I think we've got. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm acting as announcement person and secretary this evening, and Jan passed along the announcements, and I'm just going to read them to you. I'm sure I won't be with the same polish and finesse, but I'm going to give it my best try. So, wanted to announce that we have a board meeting, an E-Club board meeting next Monday, March 7th at 7:30 p.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. And next week also we have I think it's the third in the most recent Peace film series that will be held March 10th at 5:30 p.m. in Sanford Room 4. And the movie, the documentary film is going to be The Price of Sex. And it's a feature-length documentary about young Eastern European women who've been drawn into another world of sex trafficking and abuse. And the Rotary Peace Fellow Christina Adani is going to join and discuss the movie afterwards. After that, we have a social event planned. We have a social event planned, and everyone who is a member of the E-Club should have received an invitation, and it would be if everyone would fill out that poll. We need to notify the curling club pretty soon, and we need at least 16 people to make it cost effective. We have a service project to announce, and this is a book project with the Downtown Durham Club, and Todd Taylor shared this information with Jan. It's called Books on Break, and this is where we partner with Book Harvest to allow kids to shop for 10 free books to give them something to read over the summer. This is an effort to stave off summer reading loss. And they have a well-oiled machine run by Mimi O'Brien and would like to invite us to join in. And so on Friday, the 6th of May in the afternoon, they'll set up a table and have books there for the kids to select. And they've set up a sign-up genius. And I'm trying to scan for so Monday, that's Monday to Wednesday, May 9th to 11th. They will have a sign-up genius set up for people to sign up for 2-hour blocks of time. And these folks will help be personal shoppers for the kids. So that's what we would be doing as volunteers. And they say it's lots of fun. So if we're interested, we can sign up, and they will send us the links. I don't believe we have them yet because Jan hasn't included them in this email. We've also got the World's Greatest Meal still in progress. Jan is contacting a venue in Raleigh near the Briar Creek, Glenwood Avenue area where she's previously held a volunteer event. And she asked that everyone think about shoe collection fundraiser, and she did post a link, and I'll post that in the chat. Just a question about what everyone might think of this as a possible fundraiser. And then they're still looking for a Rotaract advisor. They need to work with 2 other Rotarians from the Downtown Durham and RTP Club. So if anyone would like to volunteer to do that, just get in touch with Jan. And then one last reminder that the district conference is coming up April 29th to May 1st in Wilmington, and to register on DACDB. And the district spring assembly is 2 weeks after that in Cary. That's Saturday, May 14th at 9 a.m. and includes training for next year's treasurer and secretary. So that's it for announcements. And I will post that.
Could I possibly, this is BC, I was wondering if I may be permitted to add a little comment and perhaps an announcement which your club will soon be hearing from Todd or perhaps from the Downtown Club. I suppose most of your members may be aware of the very important Rotary program called the International Youth Exchange. And the new development is Joyce McKinney and the Downtown Club are beginning to understand that in order to do a program such as the International Youth Exchange, just a single club, no matter how big it is difficult to handle. And so the idea is that perhaps all the Area 7 clubs should combine their muscle, wit, and resources to be able to do this. And you'll soon be hearing this invitation, so it will be a new sort. So those of you who are interested in youth, and I notice Carmen Fells, for instance, empowering travel. Well, it'll be right down that street. So take a look at Rotary.org and look at Youth Exchange, and you will know what that program is about, and you'll be hearing soon from Todd Taylor about this.
Thank you, BC. Okay. All right, so does anyone else have any other announcements? Or guess not. So Kevin, I guess if it's okay with you, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Carmen.
That's great.
Okay. Well, it's my great pleasure to introduce Carmen as our speaker for tonight. I met Carmen, I guess 12 years ago now at the Nicholas School of the Environment. And it's just wonderful to be able to invite her to participate in this program. Carmen Fells received her Bachelor of Science degree from Tuskegee University and then completed her master's program at Duke University's Nicholas School of the Environment, where she focused on environmental health and security. Carmen was selected to participate in the U.S. Department of Agriculture's 1890 Scholars Program and has also worked as a physical scientist for the U.S. Department of Interior and finally as a project manager for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Ms. Fells left the federal government to fulfill her passion and work full-time for Global Incite, a company that she started in an effort to provide help in developing countries and to allow more underrepresented students to learn and give back while seeing the world. Students and professionals travel with Global Incite, and so far, Global Incite has provided aid to schools, hospitals, orphanages, villages, community centers, environmental organizations, and individuals in Ghana, Tanzania, Kenya, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, and China. More recently, Carmen founded Eden, Encouraging Diversity in Environmental Networks, a nonprofit organization that strives to connect academia, industry, and government in an effort to encourage underrepresented students to pursue careers within the environmental field. Carmen is excited about a joint Global Incite Eden community building project in the works, Eden's Gardens, and Carmen currently resides in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Carmen.
Thank you all for having me. I really appreciate the invitation. Thank you for that introduction, Eve. I also wanted to introduce one of the students that participated in our Tanzania trip, Shamar Amison. She just let me know that she's on the call by phone. Shamar is a student at Delaware State. Did you want to say anything, Shamar?
Hi, I'm a student at Delaware State. I was just really interested in the opportunity to go to Tanzania and the opportunity to speak on this conference call.
Okay.
Welcome.
Well, thank you for joining.
No problem.
If you have anything to add while I'm talking, Shamar, feel free to do so. I'm sure everybody would love to hear your input as well. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hopefully my camera went out a second ago, so hopefully it will stay up this time. And I do have a slide presentation that I'm going to show. I have an invitation to share my screen.
We've got your screen.
Can you all see my screen?
Yep, it's up.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. This is Global Incite. It, to be honest with you all, is everything that I love in one company, and that's the reason why I started it. It's an opportunity for students and professionals, because professionals travel with us as well, to travel, see the world, have a wonderful time, and then also give back. Our mission statement is to promote awareness, providing edification and positive progression here in the U.S. and abroad through enriching experiences and global travel with a purpose. So basically what that means is that we go into these countries that a lot of U.S. citizens don't normally go to. We don't usually choose these countries for vacation, and a lot of students don't have an opportunity to go for study abroad. I think now there are more programs that are being started to take students into these places. But Global Incite attempts to do it in a way that's economical. So some of these students normally wouldn't be able to go on a trip that, you know, lasted for 2 months and cost upwards of $8,000. And also, some of them are afraid to travel because they don't know people who have traveled before. A lot of them, when they go on these trips, this is their first time getting their passport. They don't necessarily go out of the country with their families. So this is an opportunity to get them acclimated to another country, to have a meaningful experience, and then also to have a great time. Can you all see my screen? I just received a message to share my screen.
Your screen went away, so do you want to reshare it again? We had it for a few minutes and then it went away.
Okay. Can you all see it now?
Not yet. Oh, there it is.
Okay. So we focus on culture, history, community, and sustainability. I'm going to start talking about our last trip to Tanzania. We arrived back here in the U.S. At the beginning of January. We went in December. And this was a trip, the purpose of this trip was to go over and learn about Tanzania, the people of Arusha, and to stay within a community. This time we were actually able to stay within a community, and I think the students got a lot out of that. And then also, you know, do all the other wonderful things that you do in Tanzania. Go on safari, climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Here in this picture you see Mount Meru. This is the picture of the second largest or second highest mountain in Tanzania. And this was very close to where we were staying, in the Mbasini village. We were able to see this. We were just walking around the village on this day. I believe this was our first day. So it's just a beautiful scenery. The weather was nice, and we really enjoyed being there. The second picture is also just a picture of us walking around that area. And in this picture, we were stopping at a school. The school there, they were not in session, but the students were around doing different things. And this is a map that we're standing inside of, actually. This is a map of Africa, but it was a map of the world that was there, and we just, you know, had a photo out there. Here's a picture of some of the girls, some of the students that were around the school, and this picture it really speaks volumes to our experience. I mean, it might to you just look like a couple of girls there, you know, admiring a picture, but this is Miranda. And Miranda is actually a professional who's gone on 3 Global Incite trips. She's just a wonderful help. She really enjoys being able to go and to be with the students from the U.S. and then also to work with the communities that we work with while we're traveling. So these girls, Miranda came up with the idea of showing everyone the pictures that we take. We're very considerate when we take pictures. We don't just take pictures of people. We always ask, make sure that it's okay. And Miranda had taken this picture of these girls, and then she showed it to them, and this was their reaction. They were just so excited to see themselves in the camera, and we see this all over the country. It's the simple things, like just showing a picture or just handing out stickers or bringing, you know, candy, things of that nature. Those small things, even though we do try to do larger things, it's such a great feeling to see or to experience them being happy and excited about something so small. So that's what she was doing there. And then these are pictures of the market. Here in Well, in a lot of, I don't like to call them developing countries. We like to say transitioning. But in a lot of transitioning countries, you'll see that women are the ones that do most of the farming. They work on the farms. They sell at the market. So here you see some women there selling their produce at the market in a busy market in a small town. The markets get much, much larger than this. This is a picture of us on New Year's Eve day. And this picture, the reason why I added these pictures is because it gives you an idea of what it was like where we were staying. We chose not to stay at a hotel this time. This time we stayed there at a community center. This community center was right there in the midst of the village. And the two people who run this community center are expats from the U.S. They've been there since the 70s, and they bring people in from all over the community, all over Tanzania, actually, because a few of the guests that we met, not only from Tanzania, but from all over the world, were there. So I think that added a lot to the trip for the students to be able to go there and not only be with the people of the community, but be with like-minded individuals who wanted to learn more about Tanzania and didn't necessarily want to stay in a hotel. So this was New Year's Eve night, and we had a celebration. They actually, I believe, threw the celebration for us. So when we do go on these trips over the winter holiday, we're usually there for New Year's Eve, and we'll have a celebration with the community, with the children, and we bring those party favors. You see the hats there. The children get so, I don't know if I have any pictures of the children with those party favors, but they get so excited about just having the hats and the whistles and everything. You know, they just really enjoy having those things. So that's another simple thing that we do. And we just have a good time. You know, it's not just about going to this country, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, going on safari, seeing all the animals. We really make sure that we are able to get to know the people within the community. We spoke a little Swahili. Shamar, I might ask you to speak a few words later. We also ate the local food. We went into villages. You all might have heard of the Maasai people that are there in Tanzania. We went and visited them. These are the people who have been practicing the same culture and the same way of living for centuries. They are semi-nomadic. They drink the blood of live cattle, and they also somewhat worship their cattle. Some of them have their cattle living in parts of their house. So that's a huge part of the Tanzanian culture. I didn't add any pictures of that, unfortunately. But I do have on my Maasai earrings. This is what they usually, the dangling part of the earrings, they use that on a lot of their adornment. So that's just the pictures. Those pictures just give you an idea of what it was like for us there in Tanzania. And then these are the two hosts, our two hosts there. They have a history of their own that I would have to share in another presentation because it's long, but they've been doing this. There are plenty of documentaries on them. They've been hosting people for since the 70s, and they've been there since the 70s, and they're actually American. So here is a picture of us at Good Hope Orphanage. Well, I'm sorry, those are three pictures at Good Hope. Good Hope Orphanage is an orphanage that we started to work with on last year. Last year was our first trip to, it actually was 2014, the end of 2014, was our first trip to Tanzania. And anytime we go into a country, I always try to make sure that we're addressing the needs and not just forcing what we think that these people need on them. So I spoke to my partners over in Tanzania about, you know, what service we could do. because in each of these countries, like I said, we choose according to the needs. So we might be going into orphanages, we go to schools, we go to hospitals. In China, we visited an institution for the mentally disabled. We've done environmental work. And so there are just so many different things that we do. And this time we were told that, you know, there were so many orphanages that we should go into an orphanage and see how we could assist there. So I'll make this story short. We went to an orphanage that was in Arusha, and I had told them, you know, I really want to go somewhere where there is a need, because I understand that there are different levels of needs. Of course, if children are orphans, they definitely need something. They need love, they need attention, and they do need things. But the first orphanage that they took us to, I could tell, because, you know, just having done this so much, even though this is my first time doing it in Tanzania, but having done this so much in different transitioning countries, I could tell that this was not the orphanage for us, because this orphanage, I don't know if you all have ever been to, the best example that I can think of is Switzerland or Geneva. When we went there, the lawn was just so beautifully manicured. It reminded me of Geneva. And you know, the students had different buildings for different grades, and, you know, everything looked so well put together. And so I asked, you know, do the students help with the upkeep of their school? And they didn't. And, you know, just from looking at it and having the information that I did get, I knew that that wasn't necessarily what we were looking for. They were saying that they received funding from the U.S. and Denmark, and the school seemed to be doing very well. But we did leave some things there with those students. But I spoke with our guide, and I said, you know, can we go somewhere where there is really a need, where the children really need a lot of things? And so he said, okay, I'm going to take you somewhere. And it was later in the day, so he took us to this place, Good Hope Orphanage. We arrived there, it was just getting dark, and the reception that we received was just so welcoming. It was the best feeling to walk in there. These people didn't know that we were coming, and they were just like so excited to have us there, because you will go to some places, and it is understandable, where they'll say, you know, you need to make an appointment, you need to be set up for this, and that's what we did with the first orphanage, but with this one, we didn't have time to do that. So we went there and we took our things, and that was just one of the best experiences that I've had doing this, I can say, because we went, and of course, you know, they were just finishing up dinner. We came in, they welcomed us, you know, they showed us around, and we saw how they were living, and you know, the different conditions there. The children were sleeping about 3 to a bed. You know, the bathrooms, well, they're more like, I guess, what you would call outhouses. That's the best way that I can describe them for to compare them to something that we've had here in the U.S. But we went there and saw all of those things. And we brought our things there, and the children danced, and we had a great time. We had the, we actually had the party favors there as well. And it was just a wonderful time. I didn't have the video of us dancing there, but on this slide. But if you saw that, you would get exactly what I'm saying. And I know I spent a lot of time talking about that, but that was just such a wonderful experience. And the funny thing is that this year, when we decided to go back to Tanzania, I chose this community center because I wanted us to be within the community. And then, you know, I told them, you know, we want to go to this orphanage, and they said, I think that's the orphanage right up the street. So to make a long story short, it was. It turned out that Good Hope was right up the street from where we were staying. And they, again, didn't know when we were coming, but I had told them, you know, that we were coming. But I wanted to make sure that that was the orphanage. So we walked there the first day, and the director gave me a hug for about a whole, 2 minutes. They were just so happy to see us. and asking about the students that had come last year. So we ended up doing the same thing that we did the year before. We brought them gifts and, you know, donations, and we really just had a great time. So Good Hope is now like a family, a part of the Global Incite family. And, you know, we just love those children, love seeing them grow up and everything. And even though it's only been a year, some of them have grown about a foot or more, especially the boys. They were so much taller than they were last year. So we just had a great time there. And as you can see here in these pictures, I know you've been looking at them for a while and I haven't explained them, but someone donated to them that day because that was New Year's Day. They had donated a goat. So the boys there were slaughtering the goat. The women and girls, as you can see in the bottom right corner, were cooking and, you know, the sides and things that they were going to use during the New Year's Day celebration. So we stopped by that morning and we were just there with them, you know, having a good time and letting them know that we were in the area. So that was very exciting, and Good Hope is now part of our family. Another thing that we're doing with Good Hope is we are going to have 2 of our students working to put together a garden, an organic garden, where the students are the ones that are helping with the garden, and someone else from the community will come in and teach the community about health, nutrition, organic gardening, and things of that nature. So that's what we're working on with another organization, Eden, that I'll mention briefly at the end. But the students are students from Tuskegee and Delaware State that are working on that project. This is a picture of one of the ladies that we met on our way back to our community center. And as you can see there, she's just holding out her hands, welcoming us. And she did that pretty much the whole time during our meeting. She did not speak English, so she couldn't speak with us directly, but the other women that were with her translated for us, and she was just telling us how welcome we were and how happy she was that we were there. And the thing that stood out most about that was that a lot of people from the U.S., especially Black Americans, they'll think that Africans do not like them, or that they do not like us, that they, you know, there's just some tension and no one really knows why. And so those type of situations really stand out to me. I don't feel like that because I've been so much and I've gone back and forth, and so I always feel welcome. But I love to be able to share those stories for those people who haven't and still have those reservations about going to a place that they hear nothing good about and meeting with people who they feel do not want them there. So this was us just, you know, on the way back to the community center, and we met up with those ladies. They were coming from a celebration. New Year's is a huge celebration, and, you know, they celebrate most of New Year's Day, of course, New Year's Eve. So they were coming back from church on that day. This is another picture of us at Good Hope. This is when we had come back later and also brought our gifts. We dance with the students, and that's just a part of what we do. So we make sure that when we're going into these communities, that these people, they feel very comfortable with us. I'm sure that they get people coming all the time and want to bring them things, who say that they're coming to help. But what we try to do differently is to make sure that they know we're not just here to bring things and say that we brought them. We're here to start to form a relationship with you and to stay in touch and come back and do more when we can. These are pictures of some of the donations that we brought, and we're just dividing them up there. This year we were able to bring supplies. We brought clothes, shoes. Someone donated a tablet, and we have in the past brought laptops and cameras, things of that nature, cell phones. So we bring different things, and they're so appreciative of it. It's really, sometimes, you know, people want to know what to bring or what's best to give to people in these transitioning countries. And what I say is, you know, you don't want to bring things over there that won't be useful, but you can bring things that you feel that you can't use anymore that they can, because in a lot of cases they can. And I know some people feel bad about bringing used things or you know, not knowing what to bring. And what we typically do is we bring school supplies, we bring clothes. Someone this time brought underwear. There's someone that donated a lot of, you know, new girls' underwear, and they were just so happy to have those things. Personal items are always great to donate. Electronics, we brought some books over, even useful textbooks and things of that nature. So there are a lot of options on things that you can donate. And sometimes you can even sponsor a child's school fees. I believe that in Tanzania or in Arusha, they're about $200 for a child to go to school for a year. So there's an opportunity to do that as well. These are more pictures of us that day at the orphanage, taking our donations, handing out the party favors, and dancing with the students there. We always have a question and answer session, and here we were doing the question and answer and passing out special gifts to the students. So they could get, you know, some of those one-of-a-kind gifts that we wouldn't necessarily give to the orphanage as a whole, but we give to the individual students after they've answered a question, and that's a really fun part of the trip. So here is the picture of us there outside of Good Hope Orphanage, and after we had done the donations and everything and gotten to know everybody, and we're about to leave. So we are staying in touch with Good Hope. We're excited about the Organic Garden Project, and we're just really looking forward to getting back there and working with them. And there are plenty of other pictures that I didn't include that showed us on safari. We had a great time. We went to the crater and saw, I believe we saw all of the big five at the crater. And then we also climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. We did the day trip, so we didn't make it to the top because it can take up to 9 days to get to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. We did that. We visited the Maasai people in their village, and we camped. I think we did a little bit of everything. We went to a market where they were selling cattle, where the Maasai were selling cattle. So we did a little bit of everything, and I would say we had a wonderful time. Shamar, did you want to add anything?
Not really. I really like the Maasai tribe and how they introduce like their different cultures. Like when we went to like their tour, I thought it was interesting. Their dances, like the way they screamed, was like how we described it was the woman was screaming, kind of like a choir, like cheering on the people dancing. And I just like it was like a really good like cultural awakening. Like how the men, they drank the blood, and the boys got circumcised to show like how they became men. It was a new insight on like manhood in different countries, masculinity in other countries. I'm sorry.
Thank you. And that is about all that I have. I hope that you all gained an understanding of, you know, what Global Incite does and why we do what we do, and learned a little bit about our trip to Tanzania.
Thank you, Carmen. That was really, really interesting.
You're welcome. Did you all have any questions? I'm sorry.
I have a question for Carmen. This is BC.
Hi.
For these, let me put so you can see what I look like. So I'm BC Dash. I'm from the Durham Downtown Club, and I've been very involved with the progress of the E-Club. I have tried not to miss any of their meetings. Your lecture has been very, very interesting, and particularly because it involves Arusha, with which we have had a lot of exposure. my question to you is, what part of your visit or contribution supports their self-reliance? Or it's like the good old story that you don't give them fish to eat every day, you show them how to catch fish so they can eat fish every day. So what did you do in your part? Which are those parts which you help them with, by which that community will not depend on you for gifts or for useful things or for shoes or for clothes, but that they will be able to do things for themselves?
Right. Thank you. That's a very good question. And Shamara is about to hear a secret of mine since she's on the call. But really, the point of us taking the donations over and giving the gifts is not really, I don't feel like it has a significant impact on their needs at all. We're bringing them, school supplies, we're bringing books, clothes. Sometimes we are able to give projectors, laptops, tablets and things of that nature. But what it's really doing is it is helping us to grow. We're learning from having this opportunity to give. Most of the people who are able to participate on the trip say that the giving part is the best part. That's where they get the most out of. And so it's really not about what we're giving to them. It's about the impact of what our giving does to us. Because I feel like that's a greater impact than what we're able to do by just bringing them over donations. But to answer your question, what we're doing here in Arusha is working with them on, and that's exactly why I inquired about a way that we could help and continuously work with them. I asked the director, I said, what are you all's needs? And he said a poultry farm. Poultry's not my thing. So I said, we can't necessarily do poultry, but maybe we can do a farm, a vegetable farm, a garden. So that's what we're doing. We're actually helping them to get the funding to start this garden right there in front of the orphanage and bring in someone from the community to teach. We won't be sending anyone. We'll be making sure that there's someone with the knowledge and the experience that can come there and hold sessions and teach those, not only the children, but people around the community, information about organic farming. And we did ask if organic farming was something that they were interested in, and they said yes, and it was easy to get the soil, the organic soil, the soil that doesn't have any fertilizer or pesticides in it. So that's what we're working on with them in Tanzania. That's our contribution that'll help them to be able to help themselves. And hopefully with that garden, they'll be able to have, it'll add to their food supply and also their knowledge of health, nutrition, and gardening. It's funny that someone, I don't know if it was me or someone else, it doesn't matter, asked the children to name vegetables as a part of our us doing the special question and answer where students get certain gifts. And it was hard for them to name vegetables. It took a while, and then someone would say salad, and okay, that's several vegetables, but that's not what we're looking for. And so it was really surprising that those students had a difficult time telling us what vegetables were. So that really helps me to further understand how great of an impact this garden has potential to be. And we're doing these gardens all over the world. We've already spoken to Dominican Republic. You all might know that Dominican Republic is known for its pollution problem. And we have an opportunity to go into a community that we're working with and replace this area that they use as a dump with a garden. And so we're working on that as well. And those are just a couple of small things. Well, the garden is the small thing that we're trying to do to help these people to help themselves. We understand that taking those donations over is not, a great impact. And we don't want them to be relying on the donations, but we don't bring enough, I feel, for them to rely on us. And not often enough either. I hope that answers.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Hello, Carmen, it's Anant. My name is Anant Kumar and I'm a visiting Fulbright scholar. Thanks for your wonderful presentation. I just wanted to know that whether you have documented your work or if you have any documentary, because I wanted to share what you have done with some of the organizations working in India. So do you have any documentation of your work and other things?
That's a great question, and that's something that I definitely need to work on. I actually am doing most of everything that has to do with Global Insight on my own. I have some volunteers and some students that work with me sometimes, but there's just always so much, and that's one of the things that's on the list that I definitely need to work on. But to answer your question, I do not, and I need to. I have thousands of pictures and videos and testimonies, and when I go back through them, it just really reminds me of how important it is that I do document this information in some way. I even have blogs. The students do blogs, and we just have so much information, but it's not put together yet.
Yeah.
If you have any recommendations or anyone that I can speak to or work with on that, I would definitely appreciate it.
No, I hope that because your story is very inspiring, and I hope that others will also learn, because many organizations are doing interventions, but sometimes they don't have an idea. So that's why I thought that if you have something, I would share with my friends and the many organizations who are working in India, and they really need such interventions, innovative ideas to do that. Thank you.
I can put something together for you, though. I'll get your information, and then we can communicate afterwards.
Yes, you can send me whatever you have, or even if you can send the link of the blog, so I will get more information and I can share with others. Thank you.
Okay, great.
And I just posted the link for the Global Insights webpage in the chat. So
yes, thank you. Thanks, Eve. I saw that. Thank you.
Carmen, I was wondering how you so how are students finding out about you? How are you promoting yourself and getting the word out about your trips?
I go to some schools. I'm involved in an organization that works with a lot of different schools with students that are within environment and ag. So social media, going to the schools, doing the school visits, and also one conference that I go to. Right now, it's starting to become a word of mouth thing, and it's exciting because when I go to the schools that I've presented at before, or where students have traveled with Global Insight before, students will come up to the fair and they'll say, "Oh, we've been looking for you. We heard about your trips," and that's really exciting because it's turning into a word of mouth thing, and I think that that's one of the best ways to get the information out.
I think it's great that you're really promoting the accessibility of it, and that's something that really is fascinating, and how kids from, say, Durham are getting to know about places overseas and abroad. And also, just to go back to what BC was talking about, the exchange movement is really, really important. Having those mini exchange experiences is really valuable for students. So, yay, keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you. I also just wanted to briefly mention about Eden. It's a new organization. It's a nonprofit that I started encouraging diversity and environmental networks. And Global Insight and Eden will be partnering together on Eden's Garden. So the first one that we're doing in Tanzania is going to be an example, set the example for the others that we'll be doing in the various countries that we travel to. So you guys should look out for Eden if you're interested in being a part. Have a Facebook page now, no website, and we're actually having an interest call this time tomorrow night. Eden brings industry, academia, and government together to encourage students, underrepresented students, to pursue careers within the environmental field.
So, Carmen, I have a question.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your educational background? You kind of hit some highlights, or maybe I read it on the website. I can't remember where.
Okay.
But how those things. I mean, you gave a good introduction, but how did your educational background lead you into this, and how much of it was, while you were in your career, you said no, but this is what I really want to do, and how did you leave your career to do this?
So this is what happened. When I was at Tuskegee, I knew I wanted to go to Africa. I don't know why. I heard so many bad things about it. But I went to my dean and I said, I want to go to Africa. And he said, go find a program. So I did. We didn't have one. We didn't have a study abroad program at Tuskegee at that time. And there still is not one. They're working on it. But we only had an office where you could walk in and they would hand you pamphlets and brochures. I didn't even go into that office. I went online and I found a program with the University of Michigan. And I came back to my dean, I showed it to him, and I thought he was going to give me a couple thousand and then I would have to raise the rest of it. This was, mind you, probably about February, and the trip was in July. So I went back to my dean and he said, he gave me all of it, which was upwards of $8,000, which was a lot for me at the time. And it was just because I went to him and talked to him and asked him and let him know that I was interested in the opportunity. So I did have to still do some fundraising. I went, sold donuts. I had my little brother. It was summertime. We were selling Krispy Kreme donuts, which I don't even touch now. But melted Krispy Kreme donuts to raise the rest of the funds for, spending money and other little things that I needed to buy, passports and things of that nature. And I went over there. It was a 3-week program, and it changed my life. Like, I was literally a different person. And after that, I knew that that was something that I not only wanted to do again, but I wanted to share it with other people, especially students like me who didn't necessarily have the funds to do it on their own, but to make those programs more accessible. So I didn't do this right away. As Eve mentioned, I was an 1890 USDA scholar, so I was a federal government employee for the USDA while I was in school. I went on and went to graduate school at Duke. I did a 3-2 program. So my majors were biology and wildlife and natural resources. I did the 3-2 program because I could do 3 years at Tuskegee and do 2 years at Duke and get my master's. So I went to the Nicholas School my 4th year at school, and then I went back to Tuskegee after that 4th year and graduated and went back to the Nicholas School and received my Master of Environmental Management. From there, I was working for the Forest Service with the USDA, and then I took a job with the Department of Interior as a physical scientist, and then I was a project manager with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And I knew the whole time that these were things that I was doing just for that time, but Global Incite was my passion. And that was something that I was still doing. I would do 1 trip a year over the winter break, and then I would, just do that 1 trip. So almost 2 years now. I left April of 2014. It went by so fast. I've been doing Global Incite full time just because I knew that I had to either do it then or it wasn't going to happen. It was difficult. It's difficult to keep that full-time job and still be able to do the number of trips and do all of these things that I need to do. I'm going to Costa Rica tomorrow, and I just came back from Jamaica and Dominican Republic like a week and a half ago. And those are the types of things that I have to do, on a regular basis, and I couldn't do that at my job. And so it was just burning in me to leave. I stayed, I guess, it was a total of 13 years, including undergrad. So I stayed for, when did I graduate? I guess about 8 years after I graduated graduate school, and then I knew I had to go. And so that's what happened, and that's why I started doing this. And then, so I'm still somewhat doing what I majored in because we do focus on sustainability on these trips, and then now, especially with Eden, I'll be doing it even more, and that's exactly what I want to do because that's very important to me as well, getting more underrepresented students to pursue careers within the environmental field.
That is great. Any other? We probably have time for 1 or 2 more questions. I'll ask a question. How many students? What are your smallest trips? What are your larger trips as far as how many students go? And are you tapping into the HBCU network and world in the DC area? And how far do you travel to recruit students?
This was one of the smaller trips. I believe we had 4 students. Yes, 4 students and 1 professional in me, so it was 6 of us. And, you know, as many as about, I think the largest was Costa Rica, but that was professional and students, and we had about 25. I like to keep the group small and intimate because we really do learn more about each other, and we're able to do more and, you know, add things to the itinerary. But, yeah, so that's the group size. My ideal group size is about 10 to 15, I believe. 10, yeah.
Excuse me?
Go ahead, Shamar.
I don't mean to be rude, but I'm not near my dorm, and I don't have my charger on me. So my phone's about to die.
Oh.
Okay.
Thanks
for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Thank you.
And that's what I get too. Students like that, like I fall in love with the students. They're so sweet. they're actually like babies to me. They're like my children, even though we're not that far in age. But they're, you know, it's wonderful to travel with them. You know, they're always so pleasant. We had a great group this time. It was a wonderful group. I am tapping into the HBCU schools. And HBCU, for anyone who doesn't know, is historically black colleges and universities. Tuskegee is one. I went to Tuskegee for undergrad. And so I worked very closely with Tuskegee. I worked with Delaware State. That's another one. And also, I've started working with UDC here. You asked about DC schools. But we haven't taken any UDC students yet. But I've worked with the dean of the College of Ag in Nutrition Sciences, I believe. So we're working on some things. And I have other schools that I'm working with through the national organization that I mentioned earlier.
Let me ask the other question, if I may. This is BC again. The question is, you have had this very interesting experience and a great host of very fortunate students who have accompanied you. What will you be doing about keeping track, building a network, and not lose that what you have gained by having them become a part of some kind of an alumni of the experience that you have given them?
I love that question. And that is something that I've thought about over and over again, and I've thought about, you know, Global Incite alumni, somehow getting them together in the summertime, those that can come or something like that, because I just love those students. Like, they are the best, and it's sad to go on a short trip with them and then not be able to see them again. I do get to see them sometimes when I go to their schools to do the fairs, the career fairs and presentations. And oh, that's one very important part that I forgot to mention. The students are required to do a presentation. So they have to do a presentation at their university and within the community. So at their university, it's more technical. Within their community, they're talking to maybe other students who, you know, might not even have in mind to go and participate in the study abroad program. So they have to do that at a school, you know, high school, middle school, wherever they can do it within the community. And then they also present on campus, and they're required to do a paper, about a 1,500-word paper. But, you know, I go to their presentations when they do it on their campus, and I'm able to see them sometimes when I go to their schools. But that's a great question, and I'm working on that. Of course, funding is always the issue, but we can stay in touch online. I do have a Facebook group that's more intimate than the page, where, you know, we're able to share pictures and share stories. And I know it's 9 o'clock now.
Thank you. And I was just going to say that if they keep in touch with they can help each other.
Yes.
I am. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just saying I do have them also join our calls when we have a new group going. I have the alumni join the call so that they can tell all of their stories, good and bad.
Carmen, thank you so much for presenting tonight and for all the work that you are doing. It is transformative for both communities. Sometimes because we have the internet, because we have so much that's considered global, we have the television, that we think that the cultures are closer than they are, but getting on an airplane and being in another culture, for so many students, they just really haven't done that. And a lot of kids do have that opportunity. Their parents make those opportunities for them, and they're in a financial position to do so, but for every kid that can, there are hundreds more who can't. And so the work that you're doing is really important. I think it's going to be really important for international relations moving forward, that we have more and more kids who participate in exchanges. And we're glad that Rotary is deeply involved, and we're trying to get more involved as a district and as Area 7 to do these things. But I could imagine that a lot of the students that you might take over for the first time, I don't know if you're work with younger kids, or it could be that we find a kid in high school that then goes on a trip with you or encourages kids to go on a trip. Maybe if we can stay in touch, we can continue to build more bridges and more expectation that for kids, that it's not just for other kids to go study abroad or to go on these trips, but to have the ambition to do it more widely. So thank you for all your work and for presenting tonight. It was really important.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask if Rachel can lead us in the four-way test as we close out our meeting tonight.
Okay, and Carmen, thank you so much for your presentation. Here's the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And that is Rotary for tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming, and feel free if anyone wants to stay on the line for a few minutes. We'll leave the meeting open, but thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all, and good night.
Thank you.
Carmen, I wanted
Thank
to
you. Good night.
Good night.
Everyone, and good.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Carmen, I wanted to ask you if any of your students has kind of had a life-changing experience and now they want to be environmentalists. So have you been able to push
all
that?
of them? That's another thing I forgot to mention. Every one of them, I can't remember one who has not come back and said the trip changed their lives. They'll either tell me, right after the trip, or they'll send me a text or call me the day after they get back. And they'll say it changed their lives. And I have had students, most of them are already in environment and ag, but I have had a couple of students, when they go and they say, okay, so this is what this is about, and want to be involved.
That's great. That's really
Yeah, so they have, actually.
So cool. Well, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's call, too. So.
Oh, yeah. I hope that presentation was okay. I know it wasn't as, you all seem to traditionally have more technical presentations.
This was fine. It was exactly, everybody's a little bit different. I don't think we have a specific type per se, but no, it was great. Thank you.
No problem.